Hello everyone, today's Over the Air brought some pretty interesting changes. The Agatha change, I'm interested to see if that ever gets her out of meme territory. And then the one that I'm wanting to try out the most, or I'm going to try out the most, is War Machine. War Machine is going from an on reveal, or went from an on reveal, to an ongoing card. And so now instead of it only being effective for the following turn from when you play it, after you play it, you're good for the rest of the game. You can play an Infinite without skipping. You can play your Ebony Maw. You can play into a locked down location. There are so many cool applications for them. And of course, the first one that I'm going to be trying is a kind of gimmicky combo where you're going with the Storm, War Machine, Legion lockdown. You have the Blink to help the consistency of that build. And it is so much fun because the game is pretty much going to be in a solved state most of the time by turn number 5. And so you could easily read if you want to snap, if you want to go. But at the same time, since the game will be solved, this one is very much a 2-cube printing machine. You're very rarely going to get any more than 2 cubes at a time, but over the course of my testing, I maintained just over a 60% win rate. So as far as a gimmick deck goes, it's pretty solid. You can get some pretty consistent wins, even if the cube rate isn't going to be as high as other decks. The deck itself looks to do a lot of one-cost tempo onto the board, comboed into either Marvel Boy on turn number 3 to help scale them up. Ideally, you're going to drop Storm on 3 or 4. 3 if you have War Machine in hand. 4 if you don't know if you're going to have War Machine or not and you have the Legion line. You can do Storm on 4 into the Legion lockdown. If you were able to get Marvel Boy or just that early development, then you're going to be perfect going into the final turn of the game. If you get Storm, War Machine, and then Legion, you're free to play wherever you want on turn number 6. So unless the opponent has a War Machine as well, you get a very free turn to determine where you want to position your power and how to win that game. We're going to go ahead and jump over into a couple of games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. It's scary. If they're running a full destroy deck, I'm not sure if we can hold up against it or not. I'm going to go ahead and throw these two into nowhere since it doesn't have any on reveals. And then we're going to get a feel for if they're running a destroy deck, we're in trouble. Oof, we are in some trouble. With a Killmonger coming in, that's going to wipe us out entirely. Unless we could maybe get some cards down in place before the Killmonger comes in and we wipe them out, but I very highly doubt it. All right, let's go Storm. Legion's still in our deck, but we might be able to have turn number 6 all to ourselves.
Wind, aid my hand.
So we have the Storm line. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't go ahead and make huge waves with that Killmonger. We can go War Machine left or War Machine into mid. The only bad thing is that we don't have Legion right now, so we would need to flip into it, which is not great for us. Big Death comes into play. We do have our War Machine. We could play Blink in the left lane to flip into the Legion line, but it's even better if we just top deck the Legion. We have turn 6 all to ourselves, and so as long as we can outpower, I want to snap back. So we'll go ahead and do it. I'm going to freely play Legion into the flooded location. And then next turn, we have Nico Blink. We have White Widow, Nico, Marvel Boy. We have a couple of ways that we can play this one. We took a huge hit losing Maw, Sunspot, Nebula. And then we got lucky. They do go ahead and do the retreat. We will gladly take the 2 cubes. Let's go ahead and it was never going to be more than 2 cubes after Legion came down, so we might as well snap in that position. We're going to go ahead and take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Shaw 67-19-3. Now, we can double up on our Marvel Boy, which is, as you might know, marvelous. I'm going to go ahead and snap into this one. We don't have our lockdown components right now, but I think we're perfectly fine with being able to have a secondary Marvel Boy. So that means on turn 3, everything is going to scale. It's going to give us a 6 power each turn, which is bananas. Absolutely crazy. They do get a sunspot, but I just don't think they're going to be able to keep pace with what we're doing unless they have something that offsets it. I think we're okay. Now, we could do, with the double scaling here, we can always do White Widow. We get the extra energy so that if we end up getting our sunspot, we can absorb more, maybe the Storm War Machine line. I think they know that they're in trouble. So Widow's Kiss going over into the White Hot Room. A lot of scaling from the single Marvel Boy. Ooh, they completely skip. So their sunspot over here is getting pretty stacked pretty fast. Actually, we could blink. It'd either be Storm or Legion. I'd almost rather just do Marvel Boy, though. Even with the extra energy, this is what we're going to go with. So the Red Guardian slaps down. It loses the 50-50, and it slaps White Widow instead of Marvel Boy. Thank goodness. I'm going to give the sweat emote because that was a straight 50-50 chance. Now, Blink doesn't rotate anything for us. We could do Project Pegasus. That hurts them more than it hurts us, though. Or that helps them more than it helps us. We can go Legion. That makes all of these lanes where they can't play any of their other one-cost cards. I think is okay. Let's see what they go with in the right. It looks like a pretty heavy count. Ooh. Moon Girl. And so double SheHulk. Interesting for the Moon Girl line. Makari to help kind of clear out the hand a little bit. I like it. Unfortunately, no Sunspot to make use of all of this extra energy, but we do have War Machine, so we're going to be able to do like a blink, keep War Machine down, play Ebony Maw as well for that big kind of extra surge on that last turn. And let's do War Machine left. So Craven, what world kind of cook is Mr. Shaw running? Or Mrs. Shaw, I don't know. Let's go with this. Come 7, so it's the same thing as if we did this. But we want to throw Blink first and then Ebony Maw. We might as well do Sunspot too. It's an extra 2 in the right lane. We're gonna go ahead and throw them all down, fill up all of the lanes. We do end up forcing the retreat. The Marvel Boy early can be so devastating, in addition to having like that openness to allow us to play our Ebony Maw last turn. Some good value. We'll take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Mr. Snap player. The first location is Hotel Inferno. We have both Storm and Legion, so beautiful opening hand for us. I almost want to snap into it. No, we're gonna play it. We're just gonna let it roll. I want to. Ooh, the Ebony Maw. I want to let these kind of play out a little bit. So we do get Blink as well. Let's go Sunspot. It's only going to be 1 power there. I doubt we get anything great from it, but it does look like we're going to have the extra energy going into this turn. If we draw War Machine, ooh, Storm is increased in cost. We can do Ebony Maw mid. Next turn is Storm. Turn 5 is still the Legion line. And then that allows us to pressure this lane pretty heavily, this lane pretty heavily. And if we end up drawing our Jeff, then we can still lean into that. They lost their... Oh, they lost their... Oh, no. They lost their Ebony Maw, so they could have a... Ooh. If they have a War Machine, we might be cooked, you guys. So no extra energy. Storm ended up getting hit by the Icebox. We're still going to throw it down on the left and see how it goes.
Wind, aid my
War Machine on their
hand.
end would be very scary here. Fortunate. I do think it's a very similar cook to what we're cooking. So if that's the case, and we don't want to run any shenanigans, we just throw down a blink the storm into War Machine of our own, and that opens up our ability to play in mid, play in left, and it makes it a little bit less of a guaranteed win for them. So focusing left. I don't think they're ever going to be able to keep up with us in mid. Oh, they go Legion for us. Let's go. We'll take it. We can still play wherever. We have the lead to left, mid, and I think by doing something like White Widow Jeffrey, we can overtake left and mid off of the play. Oof. Mirror matches are gonna go crazy for a little while. This deck is a very heavy 1 to 2 cube deck. You're very rarely gonna get those 4 and 8 cube games, and so if you like to really control and lock down a game, this one can be pretty fun. If you're looking for big 4 and 8s, not gonna see them very often. Let's go ahead and take it. We'll jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have what I think is Woody. I don't know anymore. I can't keep up with all the crazy name changes. But we start with Squirrel Girl. We have White Widow to lean into. We have our Storm and Legion line. So a beautiful curve. The only thing that could make it better is if we top deck into like War Machine. Could be really, really good for us. Or Marvel Boy. Either one of those two would be fantastic to use on turn number 4. Or turn number 3 if it's Marvel Boy. And so Kate Bishop comes in, a little bit scary. I'm just going to skip on 3. I want to play into Hotel Inferno, but actually it might be all right. Let's go ahead and play Storm. If we get War Machine at any point, then we'll be able to openly play into Hotel Inferno once again. 3 cards into the left lane, little scary. Kitty Pryde, okay. Basic arrow, and what is our finisher? The grapple arrow. So, big fan of Sandman with the increase, unfortunately. Costs 1 more. Nico into Nebula, right? That's what I'm going to lock in. Then we'll see. We'll see what they go with in the right lane. But they do get good advantage of the left lane, the lake. If we can get a Ebony Maw with a War Machine line, might be decent for us. Only the Nico in the right lane. We have Blink, so we can blink into our War Machine if we didn't draw it, which we did draw it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go War Machine left, and then we'll see. As long as they don't have a clutter tool, we're okay in mid, we're okay in right. Wiccan comes down at 9 power. The big Kitty Pryde in the left lane is a bit scary. We get good old Jeffrey. Victory. But even though we weren't able to make use of the Legion line with War Machine, it did open up the flexibility, so we didn't have to focus here on turn number 4, which gave us a lot more flexibility in stacking some power elsewhere. Now, they got unlucky with the X-Mansion split, making it harder for them to compete here. Otherwise, they may have had a really good shot. We'll take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Phantom. I'm going to call him Danny. The first location is X-Mansion. Let's go ahead and play out our Nebula. We could always angle the Ebony Maw into X-Mansion since it's going to get some additional resources eventually. But we'll see what the other cards that we get look like. So we can do Nico into Ebony Maw, but we would have to change this one. I'm going to go with just Jeff for now, and then we'll see what we draw next turn. We have our Blink to be able to blink into something a little bit better, but I think we're still going to need a bit more help. We angle and lean very heavily onto the Storm line. Now with Phantom, they TVA is something else entirely. I'm going to go Ebony Maw mid. That way we force the tie. Nico, so if we play something next turn, it can slide over into the Ebony Maw lane if we need it to. And we're going to hope for the better X-Mansion split. Outside of that, we don't have the Storm line, unfortunately. We'll see. Ooh, Blade for the new Ghost Rider. So Ebony Maw. What is Phantom running? Let's see if we get the big upside. Ooh, Silk is... Silk is good for him in these other lanes. But my goodness, look at this monster. He will take it. We'll take the one. That one just came down to RNG, but we'll take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Mango. The first location is Stark Tower, so I'm going to play our Nebula away from that lane. That way it makes them decide whether they want to try to get the extra +2 or if they want to stop Nebula from scaling. Now, we have the Storm into War Machine into Legion line, which opens up a lot of possibilities for us. Black Vortex is also an interesting one, but I'm not going to take the gamble. We are going to snap into this. We will lock them into all of the locations on turn number... after turn number 5, and so turn number 6 is going to be free for us. Right now, they can't play anything into Death's Domain unless they have a way to, like, push it out sideways with, like, a Silk, with, like, a Squirrel Girl, or something similar. It looks like maybe a Hella deck. And I do think we are hella advantaged against a Hella deck. Unless they get a Corvus into a lucky Hella on turn number 5, I think we're fine. Since we have the War Machine line, I'm going to go ahead and play it over to the left. We're going to play Legion over to the right on 5. And then turn number 6 becomes very, very easy to read, easy to follow. Ghost Rider to pull in the Magneto is nasty. So a nice little kind of double up combo. It becomes tough to win this lane. The good news is the middle lane is free, so we don't have to play all that much. You have to be able to beat 8 power here, yeah? What if this was 7? We would need at least 8 here. So White Widow is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or I think we put Squirrel Girl here and then Marvel Boy. Going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Marvel Boy hits it, it's 9. If they don't do anything, then we outscale them in the left. That's what I'm going to lock in. There's a... Wait, a Jeff? We beat the Jeff, but was very, very scary nonetheless. I guess we had a chance to be able to win the left lane, right? If we just pushed a little bit more power over there. The Jeff was very, very scary. I do think they should have maybe pressured mid or stacked the Jeff and Vision together because they had such a commanding lead with the Lady Sif Ghost Rider resummon. We will take the 4 cubes, and that is where we're going to go ahead and end the video. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.